Welcome to Glowing Success. My name is Heidi and I am your host. This podcast is for beauty entrepreneurs. Join me weekly as we dive into the beauty industry's ins and outs, from business strategies, top-selling services, and taboo topics. I will be interviewing industry leaders with empowering stories and game-changing insights. Let's illuminate your path to success together. Let's jump into this next episode. Welcome back to Glowing Success. Today is a very special episode. It's all about social media. So if you are a social media person, or if you've been struggling with your social media, or if you're like, I just have no clue where to start, this episode's for you. I have Frida Torres. She is actually the founder of That Social Invite, and she's going to be sharing everything that she knows about social media. Welcome, Frida.
Thank you, Heidi. I'm so excited to be here.
I love it. You are going to be packing in this information so quickly that people are going to want to take notes. we had a little discussion before this, and I was like, oh my gosh, people are going to love this episode. They're going to get so much from it. But if anybody's listening and they don't know who you are, can you go into a little bit about like why you are known for social media and how you can help the beauty professionals out there and what your background really entails?
Yes. So I have been working as a independent social media marketer for about 3.5 years. So during that time, most of my work has actually been with people in the beauty industry. So med spas, independent aesthetic providers, and I've absolutely loved it. I mean, myself, I am a consumer of all those things. I'm a geek for treatments, the new skincare things that are coming out. So when it comes to marketing for that industry, I've always enjoyed it because I have been the target customer for it. So I started with my business, White Stripe Social, initially. And then over the past year, we rebranded to That Social Invite. So at That Social Invite, I essentially specialize in providing social media management services to get some of that workload out of business owners having to post every single day. And then we also help with organic content creation, specifically for Instagram and TikTok. So we're all about helping businesses, and specifically solo business owners, show up authentically on social media so that they can create communities that are engaged with their products, their services, and ultimately help them leverage social media for their business and their business goals.
I love that. And being a solo business owner myself, it feels like a full-time job to do social media. So I love that you're like, I'm here for you guys. Like, I'm helpful. I'm like, I know all the things that work. I love also that you mentioned earlier that we are subject to other people's social media marketing. I think, we all are clients to somebody right out there. So right. I always try to tell people when I'm coaching them, just think of the things that have worked for you. Think of the things that you've stopped that scroll with. Think of the things so I love that you talked about that, because we really do have to put ourselves back in those shoes sometimes of okay, when I'm scrolling social media, what actually stopped me? And what did I actually look at twice? But I know people are listening, then they're like, okay, so what type of content actually works best for beauty professionals? This is your alley. This is your time. What do you notice? I love to do reels on Instagram. That's my thing. I just love Instagram. I love TikTok because I do feel like TikTok is ahead of everything. So I always find that the trends from TikTok go to Instagram. So by the time it usually hits Instagram, it's TikTok, it's been on there for a long time. So anyway, but I love reels. Now, maybe you can share a little bit what type of content really does get those clients offline?
Yeah, definitely. And this is such a good question. I mean, at the end of the day, as a business owner, your goals with marketing are to sell, to book your services. You want a return out of all the work that you're putting out because, like you mentioned, social media is a full-time job. I totally get it. It's a full-time job for me to manage my clients' accounts. So having a business, and then on top of that, having to do social, you want it to work for you. So I understand where, we get so many clients and I speak to so many solo business owners like you talked about. And that is the frustration. It's always the question, what am I going to do that's going to do it? And the reality is that it doesn't really work like that. Social media is something that requires, one, you diversifying your content. So it's not just about, hitting the magic token with one piece of content. You're actually going to have to do different types of content that all work together to get someone to actually make a purchasing or booking decision. So that's number one. And then number two is you also have to take into account that social media requires consistency. It's not just about posting one thing that's really good one time, but about being able to do that over and over and over again. So we're going to get into, how to do that and why that's important. But I want to start off again, going back to your question of like, what content should I be posting? And let's start off and breaking this down with three main pieces of content. So the first piece of content that I'll be talking about specifically for you guys, beauty providers, is content that establishes social proof. So I'm sure you guys are very familiar with this. This is what most beauty providers are doing on Instagram and TikTok, is posting their before and afters, posting their testimonials. And I want you to know that this is super, super important for you to continue doing, for you to, within your practice, establish time to take pictures of your clients, track their progress, and save that accordingly so you can use it for social. Because I have so many clients that have amazing results, but they haven't been keeping track of it. They haven't started taking a picture of the before with the client. And that is something that, knowing that you're going to be marketing on social media, you have to have that in the back of your mind so that you actually put in the work and do it. So that is kind of one of the main pieces of content that are going to get people to be like, oh, these are the results I can get with this provider. This is really good. And that's going to help them actually justify booking a service with you and investing in you, especially when it comes to those higher end products and services.
Yeah, I agree with you because like people want to know like what to expect from their service. What am I going to get in the end result? Like, and I love that you mentioned that because there is so many services in the beauty industry where we take one, you're taking a client from one position to another. And, sometimes that journey can be a little longer. So I love that you mentioned like taking those progress photos because you can use them in so many ways, right? Like carousels, you can use in a video, you can, there's a lot, but people are so interested in seeing like a person go from one to the next and more than just one before and one after photo. You know what I mean? Like, I love that you shared that. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, within that content, also diversifying that within itself. So not just posting a picture of a before and after, but how can you showcase that before and after in multiple different ways? Maybe the first thing you do is that picture. And maybe the second thing you do is a video of you explaining what you did. And then maybe another one is you, taking videos of the patient, and that is another way where you showcase the before and after, where it's not just a picture. So think of ways for you to diversify the social proof, quote unquote, those before and afters that you're using already.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. What is your next thing? Because you were like so ready. I was like, oh my gosh, I love it. I'm like on the hook right now. I'm like, what is she going to say next?
Yay. No, I'm so excited that it's all resonating. So the second piece of content that you're going to want to consider in order to make the decision of booking a service with you easier is going to be content that eliminates the fear or the doubt associated with coming to visit you. And what do I mean by that? So you as a beauty provider, you know what your clients are going through every single day. But the beautiful thing about social media is that you're able to showcase those things that people don't see unless they're there to people that aren't there already doing a service with you. So what I want you to start doing is showcasing the customer experience. So this is content, where you're filming a facial, if that's something that you're performing, or where you're filming actually injecting a patient. And think about some of the things that people get worried about. So is it going to hurt? Am I going to be uncomfortable? Do I need to shave my legs? Make sure that you are using your social media to showcase the things that people can't see. If you want someone to come in for a facial, it's very easy for you to say, okay, here's my treatment. Here's how you can book it. Go ahead and book it. But what if you were able to showcase that facial? through a video, through your stories, and actually it's almost like food, like sometimes you're
Yes.
hungry, but it's not until you see a video of a burger that
Mhm.
looks really good that you actually want to go ahead and go to the restaurant and order the burger. So think of
Yes.
the same thing for your services. The other thing that you're doing within that is that you're able to show your environment. If you have a really beautiful space, you can showcase that. And that kind of also eliminates the fear of like, oh, where am I going when I book this service?
Yes. I
A
agree.
lot yeah, I see a lot of beauty providers, they don't even showcase their beautiful space. And that is
No.
one of the beautiful things, and you're not only selling results in this treatment that's really good, but also an experience. So showcase that
Yes.
customer experience through your content.
I love that because honestly, we are inviting our clients into our spaces, right? It's kind of like when you invite somebody into your home, like, come on in, take your coat off, like, take your shoes off. Like, you're inviting your clients into that space. So, like, yeah, welcome them in and showing off. I also like that, like, you had mentioned earlier, like we're so engrossed in our own work. We're so engrossed in like what we do and the beauty treatments and how they work and like all the ins and outs of everything that we forget that from a client standpoint, they don't know all that information. This is new to them, maybe, or this is something that they really are excited about and they do want to feel like kind of included, or they want to feel like you're informing them and inviting them. So I love that you're saying this because, those shots, I find that when I scroll on social media, now mind you, I follow a lot of beauty professionals because that's what I do. But I do love those videos when they're showing their room or just panning over the room just to see how comfortable and serene. And it gives that experience already. I'm like, oh, wow, that's really relaxing looking, or that looks like it
Yes.
smells good in there. Or you know what I mean? Like, so I love that because like I do feel like this is what I do feel like that's other than like knowing what your result's going to be. I do feel like that's a really big one for me. Like, I want to see
Hmm.
what I'm going to be. And same thing with like, and maybe this is too soon. Maybe you're going to talk about this next, but same thing with showing your face on social media. What do you feel
Definitely.
about that? I'm sorry if I cut you off onto the next thing that you're going to talk about, but I love when people show their face because the same thing, you're inviting me into your space. You're inviting me into your treatment room. Like, who are you? What do you look like? What's your personality? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I love that you bring that up because I love saying this to all of my clients. It's one of my, like, I feel so strongly about this. People connect to people before they connect to a service or a product. If you're able to make someone comfortable just with your personality, with your expertise, with the way that you're showing up on social media, that buying decision becomes so much easier for them because they already connected with you on a personal level. So yes, throughout all this content, as important as it is to show your clients, show that social proof, the results, the things that backs you as a provider, it's also important for you to show yourself because you yourself are an expert in your field and you want to have the opportunity to showcase that and position yourself as that expert on social media. So yes, this is absolutely one of the things that you should definitely be including in your content
Yeah.
so that you get people to schedule those appointments with you.
Yeah, because they're gonna book you. They wanna see you. They wanna see your personality. Like, I can't stress that enough. I go to so many people's pages, and more than half the time, I don't even know who they are, number one, and then I don't even know their name. So, like, I'm always like, "Put yourself on your social media." They wanna book with you. They
Yes.
wanna like, more than your actual service even, like, somebody will find passion in you, your conversation, your touch, whatever it is. I think that's the one thing that human connection is really, it has to show through. I mean, it's really important. Okay, before I go on to the next question, I want to ask you because I'm really
Yes.
excited. Do you have anything else that you're going to say with this?
Yes, I do. So the last thing that I want to throw in when it comes to using your content to get those bookings and actually work for you as a business is you have to remember to always tie it back to how is my treatment relatable, what actually makes people book this, and making sure that that is being shown in your content. So then again, we already went through that social proof. We already went through showing the quote unquote behind the scenes. What can people expect during the treatment? But now I want you to get more specific. If you're looking for someone to schedule a Botox appointment, then you need to talk about the concerns that they have initially in order, why do they need Botox in the first place? And again, this ties back into people are going to connect to people more than they're going to connect to a treatment, in this case, Botox. So what is the concern? Oh, it's wrinkles. So how do we highlight that concern through a post? Maybe it's starting to notice crow's feet around your eyes. Then how do you guide that? That's like something relatable. If you see that on your feet, you're like, oh my
Yes.
God, I am. And then
Yeah.
maybe it's a carousel post where then it explains how those wrinkles form. So you're tying in something a little bit educational, oh, we start losing collagen in our skin, expression leads to this and that. And then it's the solution. So with
Yes.
your content, I want you to start thinking about how you can start with problem and then get all the way to solution, which is your service and your treatment. So it's not just about being like, hey, I offer Botox, but about being like, hey, you have this concern and this is why this happens. And this is how I can help you. So that is something that very naturally you'll do, with your patients on a consultation. For most beauty providers,
Yes.
you guys are experts. Like truly, I love working with you guys because it shows like you guys are so smart and so great with people when they're there. So it's just a matter of getting that same expertise and consultation translate onto social content.
Yeah. And the reason that works is because actually, when it comes to sales psychology, we actually purchase first, number one, with logic. So I know a lot of people think it's the opposite. They think we purchase with emotion first, but it actually doesn't work like that. Our brain wants to like think of like, why are we doing this? Why do I need this? Like, okay, I've been talking about this. This is my concern. And then all the way at the end of the sales psychology process is your emotion. So yes, that makes a lot of sense because logically, if you have wrinkles and you want those wrinkles to go away, this is what I'm going to do for you. So I love it's so seamless because like you said, we can talk about this all day in person and we'd love that. So translate it online, people, translate it online. What are the most common content mistakes? So we've talked about the things we should be doing, but what do you see commonly used online that's just not working? I mentioned a few earlier of like not showing up in your feed, not showing your name. But what do you notice? Because obviously you probably look at content so differently because you are focused on making content for people.
Definitely. The first thing that I'll say, the biggest mistake is not posting consistently. If you are not showing up consistently, social media is not going to be working for you because it is a tool that has to be used, honestly, on the daily, at least bare minimum 3 times a week. You should be showing up on social media. So I can give you all these tips about content. We can make a great video, but if we only do that once a month,
I know
it's not going to get you to achieve your goals. So that's just the main thing that I will talk about, when it comes to mistakes that I see. And that is why, whether it's allocating more time in your schedule to be able to put those posts out, whether it's seeking help from someone that works for you or seeking independent help from an agency, independent social media manager, this is a crucial part, to seeing any form of success on social.
I agree with you because actually when I started showing up consistently, lately I've been trying to do at least 1 post a day, if not 2. I do eventually want to go to 3 posts a day just because a lot of getting my coaching clients is happening online. So that is one of my driving forces for getting my client base. But I will say like, it's funny because obviously we eventually want to work on the type of messaging and the type of content you produce, right? But you're not going to know some of those things until you start posting things, until you see what works, until you're like, oh, okay, a lot of people really liked that one. A lot of people really viewed that one. And like, don't pay attention too much to the metrics, but you definitely want to see what's landing with your client base, right? Like what is actually getting people to stop and watch and get those views? What's actually, we have what they say 3 seconds to get somebody on social media. So that's 3 seconds. You have to be really impactful in the beginning of whatever you're doing, or your photo has to be eye grabbing, I should say, if you're not doing a video. And then the other thing I want to mention, and you probably agree with this. So back in the day, I think it was like somebody needs to see something about 7 times before they decide that they're going to purchase. I think now it's gone up to almost 22 times. So like people, and you have to know that people aren't going to see your posts every day. So even though you have so many followers, your one post that you did on Tuesday, maybe your ideal client didn't see that, but the opportunity that you're going to give by posting every day or posting more consistently, like you're saying, is that opportunity is going to get there eventually where that person actually is going to see it, or maybe they're going to see it at the time that works for them. So, sometimes, like I said, people need to see something like 22 times before they make the decision of like, okay, I've seen this person enough where I trust them. I see this, this post enough where I trust it, or I see it that I'm like, oh, I resonated with it, or I'm finally ready to spend that money, whatever that, thing is for your client, but you consistently being online. And I will say, just start doing it, right? Like I'm a firm believer in doing things messy before because you're going to learn along the way.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, when, even with our clients, like I'm very clear with them. When we start working together, we're not going to go viral and you're going to get all these clients the first post that we do in the first month, even 2 months that we work together. It takes us at least 5 to 6 months to be able to track a growth and also be able to see what content's working for us. With working with beauty providers, I could tell you firsthand, I could do the same video on one page and the same video on another page for people that offer almost the exact same thing, and it's not going to perform the same because they have different audiences and they are different people. So yes, if you're feeling super frustrated with your content and you're like, oh my God, I keep putting all this work, I'm spending so much time doing this, and it's just not getting it. Like, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting any return from it. And you're starting to get frustrated, which I totally get it. Social media is hard, especially if it's not your passion. Your passion is beauty, obviously. Keep reminding yourself that consistency is going to lead to success. And at least if it's not the success that you want to see right away, it's going to lead to some form of insight into what you should be doing more of, what you should be doing maybe less on, and maybe some of the things that maybe you'll just even get better at it over time.
Yeah.
It's practice. So shooting
Yes.
the video, if you're editing it by yourself, it's going to take practice and consistency to be able to get better at it. So don't get discouraged. It's a part of the process.
It really is. And like you said, the more you do it, the more comfortable you become doing it and the more ideas come. But, two things that really help me out, and everybody is very different. So everybody's very different with like what social media channels they like to sit on, what social media channels your clients like to sit on, what type of content you resonate with. So be mindful that you are unique and you have something to share that's unique. But the thing that works for me is batching. So I do days where I just batch a bunch of content. So like this next Monday coming up, I'm going to batch a bunch of videos that day. For me, I like to do a lot of B-roll videos just because that's what works for my business. And I like that. And I think like for me, like I don't need to do a lot of talking head videos right now. But maybe we'll go back to talking head videos, and that's just where you talk to the screen if you don't know what that means. So I batch a bunch of videos in one day, and then I will try my best to put those videos together that same day and utilize tools, maybe write down some hooks or write down things that you see that you liked. I have it on my notes on my phone, so I could just reference back to a bunch of things that work for me. And then I really try my best to schedule it out that day too. So I just have like one day where I'm just doing a bunch of social media stuff. And then the rest of the week, I don't have to worry about it because I've already scheduled all my posts. I've already, done all of that work for myself. The other thing is that I found that helps me is finding programs and things that work. So like apps that work. So like for me and that you will actually use. So like I don't necessarily like CapCut. I know a lot of people do. I like to use InShot. InShot works for me better. It's easier for me to use. I've been using it longer, so that's probably why. Whereas if I had been using CapCut for this whole time, I probably would find CapCut easy too. But needless to say, I find that InShot works for me the best. So I'm going to stick to using that because I find I don't have to fight with it. You know what I mean? It's just natural. I send my videos on there and I know how to do all the little editing things. So find what works for you. It's all about that discipline, right? Like you're not going to feel motivated to make a video every day. But if you do batching like I do, you don't necessarily have to feel motivated to do it because you already did it, So I don't know. It works for me, but
Yeah, no, definitely. You need to find what's going to help you be the most consistent, whether it's batching, whether it's filming every day. People are different. What I found that's worked with my clients, because one of the biggest issues when it comes to filming content, specifically when you want to feature patients, and you want to feature that experience, is that it's uncomfortable to ask your clients oh, can I take a video of you? You know, and you totally get it because they're coming in for self-care time. A lot of them don't want to disclose that they're getting treatments. They don't like social media. And that is something that's specifically for the beauty industry. We have to take into account when it comes to how are we going to plan content in the first place, you know?
Yep.
So what I found is that you as a provider, batching can be super helpful because not only
Mhm.
is it good for you, you know, where you can show up just once, do your makeup, do your hair, you feel your best, you want to be in
Yes.
camera, you know, but you can also schedule in people that are gonna want to be in those videos. So what we
Yes.
do with a lot of our clients is we schedule 1 to 2 times a month, and we already have a couple patients coming in, and then I have some time with the client where we can shoot some one-on-one content, and it
Love
makes
it.
it easy. And then just right then and there, we have content that we can utilize and repurpose throughout the whole month.
Yeah, I think that's very smart because like you said, there's definitely going to be some handful of clients that I've had some clients over the years that they're like, I don't even want people knowing I'm doing this. Specifically, those are usually like beauty type services like lasers or like peels, things like that. But I will say like open this up to your clients, you guys. Like ask that question, like send that email out and say, "Hey, I'm going to do a social media day. Is anybody would you be interested in being a model? You have to be comfortable on camera, you have to be comfortable doing this, but you get maybe this discount." I would usually offer them a 50% discount just because you still have to make up those product costs and your time. But 50%, that's usually a pretty good discount, enough for that person to come in and be like, you know what? I don't mind having a camera around when I'm doing this service. I don't mind, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, do it. Like
Yeah,
ask the models. It's so worth it because you're
definitely.
gonna
It's
get
more
such amazing
common than you
content.
think.
Yes, yeah. And you know what? People are so used to social media nowadays. So I feel like,
Yeah,
even clients, they're gonna be more open than you think it is. It's more scary for you than it is for them, actually.
definitely. Definitely. People actually get excited, you know,
Yeah.
and when you get those people also that are know they're going to be on social in the first place, like they'll even bring something that,
Yeah.
you know, into the video, whether it's them like being, you know, super happy and cheery and that makes it better, or maybe they're even willing to talk in the video and that's awesome too.
I
So
love that.
the people are definitely out there.
Yeah. And it's interesting because sometimes these conversations even sparked my clients to share it on their own pages, which we
Yeah.
love, right? As small business owners, we love it when people are sharing our work, and we love it when people are inviting others to come see us. So, being a part of something like that, it's like you said, there's some excitement around it. And so they're going to be excited to share it too. So, highly suggest. It works really well. Batch it, try it, and see if it works for you. If not, you can obviously get in a good system. Maybe every day you just put 1 hour a day to videoing, however you want to do it. But I promise you guys, if you take anything from this episode, I think what I've heard the most from Frida is consistency.
Yes.
Be
Yeah.
consistent.
Yes. Show up as much as you can, truly. Now, with this is not to say that you're compromising quality. So again, think about everything else we've talked about, you know. Um, People are scrolling all the time. We kind of talked about this a little bit ago. People are scrolling so fast. And what you also have to remember is social media, people come to de-stress. People come to connect with their friends, to find a funny video to share. So you really have to make sure that your content is offering value and it's engaging enough to make someone, one, want to even stop their scroll, but two, listen to what a business has to say. You know, you have to know like people are expecting to see something funny, not necessarily be sold to. So how can you know, communicate what you do and educate about your treatments and whatnot in a way that will make someone enjoy that video, enjoy that piece of content. So that kind of ties into another mistake that I see a lot of business owners make is that they don't take this into account and they're very focused on just selling and talking about you know their offering and they have openings and book now and this and that and they haven't really taken the time to offer value or offer entertainment or offer something inspiring. And these are three pillars that when it comes to content, you really have to understand and you really got to make sure like your content has to be educational at least, you know, if going back to what is the problems that you're solving, inspirational, you know, what is something that people will find relatable. Maybe you are a mom with kids and that's your target customer, your target customer is a mom that needs to take care of herself and wants to, get her glow back. Make a video about that, telling that story, and something entertaining. Don't be afraid to tap into these trends. Maybe it seems silly, but that's what people want to see. That's what people find
Yes.
funny, and maybe they find you through a funny video like that, and that's how you got exposed to them.
Yep.
And they follow your business and they're like, oh my God, they offer all these things that I like. So,
Yep.
no content should just be the same and about selling.
Right.
Remember, people are coming to social, they want something out of it. Make sure that you as a business are offering value in some of those ways.
Yeah, the entertainment piece. I really find it funny when people use like the trending audios or trending themes. Specifically, I follow like a ton of waxers and they have been doing some really funny content. And I will say, like, the funny content is generally the content that people share with their friends and family and like people that they want to be like, oh, look at this. I found this funny today. And the more that you get shared, the more that people like, the more that people view, the more that they'll show your work to other people that don't follow you. So there's a lot
Yeah.
of perks to like once you start getting into that content that really is shareable, so to speak. But diversifying your content, that's huge. And I think for me, I forget about that sometimes, right? So like I have to remind myself like, okay, maybe I'll have to do a piece this week that's like more funny or just has nothing to do with my offers, right? And I have to remind myself, I remind myself that this week actually. So I'm glad you brought that up because it's one of those things that we tend to forget about because we do get such on a track, right? You're like, okay, I want to talk about this. I'm trying to book this in. And I always tell people like talk about the service that you want to book in the most, right? Like, yes, there's a lot of other
Right.
services we offer, but if you want to book in a facial, if you're listening, you're like, I want to book in a service that I'm not currently doing a lot of. So let's say you're doing a service that you just don't really feel passionate about and you're just like, I want to book more of this. Talk about that. And that should be
Yeah.
like most of your, educational content, most of your whatever content, you know what I mean? Like be funny with it. But if people don't know you even offer it, they're not going to book you for it, right? So I just talk about what you're passionate about, people. Talk about what you're passionate about.
Yeah, definitely. I think solo business owners get stuck on when it comes to this entertaining content or just diversifying in that sense, is that they'll be like, no, but I want to stay professional. I want to stay, luxurious. And now that we're talking, content, I figure it's a good time to maybe bring this in. But remember, social media is not meant to be that serious. Actually, what's going to
Right.
perform best for you are things that are organic, relatable, personable. The graphics that are overdone, the super high quality imagery, the very like edited videos and whatnot. They have their time and place. Don't get me wrong. You're running
Yes,
an ad, make sure that's crisp.
for
But
sure.
honestly, for your day-to-day organic content, you want to make it approachable. And the way that you do that is not by being like, I'm this business that's super luxurious and whatnot. You can still be that. That could be your customer experience.
For
But for
sure.
social, make sure that it's personable enough so that people, when they go to your page, they're connecting again with you as a person, as opposed to
Yep.
just a graphic or a product image.
Yeah, I see that too, where people post a lot of graphics and it's like people are just going to scroll right past that and be relatable. Yeah. I love organic content. I'm an organic marketing person. Don't get me wrong, there's a time and a place for ads like you said, but I really feel like ads are only going to be beneficial to your budget if you already have your messaging down, if you already have like posts that you know are doing really well and you can like kind of share those same posts. I mean, there's a time and a place for paid ads, but I will say like there's tons of businesses out there that thrive really well on social media just off of organic content alone and never have to do an ad. So if you're listening and you're
Definitely.
like, I don't know, I see all these boosted posts, I see all these ads and all these people are getting, likes and things like that. I would truly ask if that person that's doing that ad and paying for that boosted post, if they're actually getting conversion rate. So yes, you could be getting likes, you could be getting shares, you could be getting, all those things. And like I said, those vanity metrics are sometimes hard, but are those people really booking? And that's really what matters for us, right? That's really why we're talking about this today is like, we want to bring people offline into the treatment room, because ultimately we want to get that booking. Frida, you have shared so many great tips with us today. If anybody's interested in working with you, where can they find you? What can they do to get into your world and work with you?
Yes. So you can find us on Instagram at That Social Invite. And then we also have our website. It's just thatsocialinvite.com. So feel free to follow us on Instagram. And then if you want to connect with me directly, we have a little inquiry form through our website.
Nice.
So yes.
And of course, I will put all this in the show notes. So you guys will just be able to go to the show notes and click on those links, and it'll take you right to the pages that she had mentioned. Thank you again for being on today, Frida.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope this offered value. And if you're a business owner that's listening, I hope you feel at least a little bit more motivated and at peace approaching your socials moving forward.
Heck yes. Thank you again for listening. I hope you liked that episode and found something useful or tip that you can use immediately. And my episodes come out weekly, so I'll see you in the next episode.